So today we have the Knights 4v4 tier list. I'm going to be considering the hero's moveset, the hero's feats, and simply the overall capabilities in 4v4 modes. This is modes like Dominion, Breach, Tribute, Elimination, Skirmish, all those modes that are 4v4. This is what I'm going to be judging these heroes by. And we're going to start off with my favorite hero, and that's Warden. Warden's a Vanguard. He's also easy, adaptable, and straightforward. I think this works to his advantage because his simple moveset allows you to really get down his core moves, and sometimes simple is the best. With some of Warden's recent changes like his hyper armor and how his second heavy is unblockable, it makes Warden a really good hero for 4v4s, but something I really want to take a look at is the feats. His new feats make him a lot better for any kind of 4v4 modes. So we have Death Toll, which is a passive, killing soldiers grants you moderate health and stamina. We got Enfeeble, shoulder bashing opponents temporarily lowers the attack damage. Let's say you shoulder bash somebody while they have revenge, it'll lower their damage by a little bit, which is nice. You simply just have to get a shoulder bash on them. Then you got the Pung No Mortis. Then you got another passive, which is Total Recovery. Successful revives return allies to full health. And then we have his fourth feat, which is simply a catapult that you can call in quicker. He's the only hero in the game that has this. Now these feats aren't game breaking, but it's a huge step up from what he did have. So with his moveset and on top of all of that, he got brand new feats. Warden should be placed in B tier in my opinion. Next we have PK. Now about PK, she's gone through a lot of changes over time. She has gone through a lot of improvements as well. Now Peacekeeper is a character that has a pretty simple moveset. In my opinion, I don't think it's really made for 4v4 modes, and that's not just because she's an assassin. Some assassins are made for 4v4 in my opinion. This is just one that's not. As you can see, she's a fast counter attacker, and that's exactly what her moveset reflects. Now taking a look at some of her feats, she has Bounty Hunter, Stealth, and Conqueror. These are all nice feats. Honestly, Stealth and Bounty Hunter is probably the ones you should use with her. Then we got the Fayette Lux, Thick Skin, and Executioner's Respite. Now with her being an assassin, it's nice to be able to get a little bit of health back, but Thick Skin is also real helpful since you're, so light, you need that passive. And then you got the Fayette Lux if you want to get crazy and throw a grenade, but she also has a crossbow for the third feat, which does bleed. If you shoot somebody with this crossbow, Shaman can actually jump on them and go into her blood trance, which is really nice. You also got the Pung No Mortis on this. This is the same grenade you have with Warden. And then lastly, for the third feat, you got Sharpened Blade. Now, Sharpened Blade is really helpful. When you put this on, especially when you have revenge or any kind of debuff applied, you're gonna do so much damage with this feat. And lastly, one of my favorite feats is Fear itself. Nearby enemies have a lower defense. Now, this is just a helpful feat all around. There's no strategy to it. Your enemies just simply have less defense, which when paired with Sharpened Blade is wild. And for the last few feats, she has Catapult and Last Laugh. Last Laugh fun to use. Once you die, you drop a grenade, but you can't get executed or else you won't get that grenade drop, which is kind of risky. There's a little bit of a strategy to that. And then you got Catapult, which of course there's a strategy to that. You got to call it in. It takes a little while. I like calling catapults in from long distance. Let's say I'm at C, I see a team fighting at A in a smaller map. Call it in from a long distance. They don't hear it coming. That's the best time to use those. Honestly, if you're playing Peacekeeper, you're going to want to be rocking Fear itself and Sharpened Blade. These combinations are just insane for this hero. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to have to put Peacekeeper in C tier. She's just not a 4v4 hero in my opinion. Now, if we were talking duels, it might have been a little different, but 4v4 definitely isn't her strong suit. Let me know what you think below. Next, we got the good old Season 2 King, Cutscene King, Centurion. Now, I wish he used to be as good as he was back in the past, but he's just simply not. Cutscene's been long gone, and he pretty much has the same moveset as he did long ago, which still makes him good. Now, something I really love about Centurion is the way you can just hold your heavy, then get that punch in, knock him to the ground, jump on him. This is really nice, but whenever you punch somebody in 4v4s, you're going to be giving them revenge every time, especially, but if you're going to be punching people and you have teammates around you, you're going to be giving revenge a lot with Centurion, so you got to be real careful about that. But timing your attacks right, timing them at the exact moment. For example, if I time this and stick them and somebody else hits them while I'm doing that, that's just way too much damage for them to handle. And it's super helpful when somebody's super tanky. But when it comes to his moveset, it gets the job done, especially for 4v4 modes. So you can tell Centurion is a hero that's made for 4v4 modes from the ground up, which is why I gotta put him in B tier. Next on the list, we got Blackprior. Blackprior is a hero that simply has everything. If you take a look at him, he's a heavy, he's easy to medium, he's a counter attacker and a protector. That being said, when you take a look at his feats, that'll be pretty evident. As you can see, he has Sinister Shield, Healing Ward, Oathbreaker, and Umbral Shelter. The first one grants a shield to an ally by inflicting some damage to yourself. You can simply slowly regain health while in your bulwark stance. Then you have Oathbreaker, which automatically just takes away any shield. Even if they have revenge, you can instantly take that away. And then you have Umbral Shelter. For a short time, generate shields for you and nearby allies. Shields don't stack. So as you can see, his feats are tailored to support his teammates because the way his moveset is, he's really hard to kill at times. So when I go into this position, that is the bulwark stance. If I had the second feat activated, I would be gaining health right now. And from this position, you can actually press light attack. Then you'll do this, which is the bulwark stance. If this warden attacks at that moment when I'm down like this, I will flip him and then be able to get some damage in. As you can see, this warden's going to attack, and his second attack is going to be unblockable. You can do this to even unblockable attacks. So with its perfect balance of defensive and offensive moves, Black Prior just simply has everything. Like I said before, I don't even really main this hero, and I still gotta say he needs to go in S tier. He has nice feats, nice moveset. Yes, he's real good in 4v4s, but he also can hold his own in 1v1s. Just all across the board, Black Prior has it, and in my opinion, S tier is the perfect spot for him. Now, what can I say about good old Griffin? Now, I haven't really played him a lot, and I'm gonna be real with you, I don't like his moveset that much. He's probably my least favorite knight, but that doesn't mean that he isn't good. Now for 4v4 mode, he is simply built to support. As you can see, he's a hybrid, he's easy, support, and he's versatile. His feats are real supportive. As you can see, we got Stern Stare, lower an attack. You simply lower an enemy's attack. Then you got Draconite Mist, heal yourself and nearby allies for the second feat. That's wild. Then you got the Draconite Bolt, fire a bolt that deals some damage to enemies, then heals you and nearby allies. And then lastly, we have the Draconite Cleanser. Throw a projectile that deals some damage to enemies upon explosion, then heals you and your nearby allies. As you can see, he does a lot of healing, got some debuffs in there. In my opinion, I think he's like more of a tactical hero when it comes to feats. For example, like if you're staying really close to your team, you got a Griffin, you got a couple other heroes that pair well with him, you could be a real big support player with Griffin. Then again, he's not going to do a ton of healing, but some is better than none in my opinion. But for his fourth feat, he also has Champion's Aura. Now for his fourth feat, he has Champion's Aura. Now this is like Stalwart Banner, but you can move with it, which is super nice. Then you got Arrow Storm. We also got Tough as Nails to increase that health and Fury, and we also have Flesh Wound, Winner's Advantage. You get a temporary buff when you have a successful attack, and then you also have Fast Recovery and Speed Revive. Now honestly, if you're playing Griffin, I would be using his first feats because he is a newer hero, and all the newer heroes, their first feats will kind of like match up with each other, so it's always good to use the first ones, but there's always an exception to that. For example, if you want to use Champion's Aura, that's a really good fourth feat to use as well. So far as moveset goes, he feels exactly how a hybrid should. In a way, he kind of feels like Lawbringer, but a bit different. But definitely if you're a newer player, Griffin may be a good pick for you, especially if you like this type of playstyle. But overall, simply for 4v4 modes, with his simplicity, his overall feats and abilities, for 4v4 modes specifically, I would have to put Griffin in A tier. He's pretty nice. Next, we have Conqueror. For the people that don't know, Conqueror used to be one of the best heroes in the game, but now not so much. I believe he's average, he or she, whichever one you're playing. Now when it comes to Conqueror's feats, he has a pretty well balanced set of feats. As you can see, what I got equipped currently is Speed Revive, Shield Basher, which allows you to apply damage whenever you do a shield bash, of course. Then you got Heal on Block, and then you got Regenerate. You can also throw in Catapult here or Uninterruptible, but I think Regenerate's really nice, especially when you just need to stay with some health. Like let's say you're playing Breach or something. I think the last thing I played was Breach with Conqueror, and that's why I had to Regenerate, because I hate running across the map. I like to be able to regenerate whenever I want, but Catapult works too sometimes. Now Conqueror is super defensive. As you can see, heavy to medium, strong defense, hard hitter. That's exactly how Conqueror plays. As you can see, we got the bashes. We got an unlimited chain. Long as I keep making contact, Conqueror's gonna keep going. The reason why I'm not going towards the right, because Warden blocks to my right by default in the training. But if he wasn't blocking there, I can go wherever he's not blocking. Sometimes this throws people off, but as you can see, it kind of slows down if you keep it going too long. Look at that, see, a little slow. But far as 4v4s overall, with this shield, with all the abilities available, you know, you can charge up a heavy, throw that thing, cancel it, or go through with it. Conqueror is definitely built for 4v4 modes, and he or she struggles a lot when it comes to 1v1 mode. But if you're team fighting and a lot's going on, Conqueror is probably one of the best ways to go. You can keep throwing these unblockables. If you swing these wildly, swap your target and pause at the right moment, and then get the counterattack in, I'm telling you, you can definitely hold your own for a while with Conqueror. Not to mention you can heal on block and do damage when you do your shield bash. All of this works together, and that's why I gotta put Conqueror in A tier. So next we have Lawbringer, and y'all were on my ass about the last placement for Lawbringer. I put him in C, and y'all lost y'all's mind. Lawbringer does not deserve a C tier. My judgment was based off of Lawbringer in his pre-rework form. With his current rework, he is definitely A to B tier. And with his new rework, he definitely got a big upgrade. And he's a hybrid hard hero, counterattacker. He used to be a bit stiff before his rework, I'm not gonna lie. But before we get into the movesets, we're gonna take a look at his feats. He has Conqueror, Righteous Deflection, which allows you to get high damage reduction for a short time after you parry. This is really nice because Lawbringer is a hero that thrives on parrying. He has a pretty nice punish for it. And then you got the Pugno Mortis. And on top of that, if the Pugno Mortis isn't enough, you got the Igneous Ember, which allows you to have several grenades that deal moderate damage over an area. But for the first third feat, you have Protect or Revive. Your Revive grants temporary shield to the revived ally. I really don't use that much. I either go for the Pugno Mortis or the Second Wind. Second Wind's always helpful. It's always nice to have extra health, you know. But then after the Igneous Ember, you also got the Catapult and you got Regenerate. If I'm not going with the Igneous Ember, I'm going with the Catapult. And I typically wouldn't have Conqueror on here. I honestly would go with Harsh Judgment or Body Count, but most likely I would go with Harsh Judgment. And these feats don't really stand out much, but they're pretty solid. I think they were getting somewhere with the uniqueness with the feats for this hero. Lawbringer is a hero that has a parry punish. You know, you get a parry in, you get an unblockable heavy. And it's nice to have this feat to help accommodate that. But I believe overall, Lawbringer needs more unique feats in my opinion. Just give him a rework as far as feats. He has the same pool of feats that all the vanilla heroes had back in the day, which they don't match up to all the newer heroes feats. So I think eventually they need to just give him a clean slate, at least brand new first feats. A big improvement that was recently made is the bash attack off the light attack. Used to, you could only get a bash off of a heavy just like that, but now you can get a light attack in, then get a bash off that, and just keep it going. His chain is pretty nice now. Overall, Lawbringer has recently gone through a lot of changes, and I had to really change my judgment on him after taking a look at what actually was changed about him. Last tier list, I believe I put him in about C tier. Now, I'm gonna be real with you, I think I'm gonna have to put him in A tier. He is a pretty decent hero, especially for 4v4 modes. Next, we have Gladiator. Now, Gladiator is a hero that I actually have spent a lot of time with, despite being only a rep 1 on this account. I got quite a few more reps on my other accounts with Gladiator. And something I would say about Gladiator is he has to be one of the more safe assassins. You know, he got his toe stab, he has his unblockable bashes, things like that. Just overall, his moveset just feels real safe. If you look at his description, he is an easy hero. He also is a stamina preserver and mix-up intensive. I like to think Centurion, but an assassin. And if you take a look at his feats, they're pretty solid for 4v4 mode. As you can see, we got Bounty Hunter, you got Deadly, and you got Iron Lungs, which is okay, doesn't really stand out. But similar to Centurion, he has Haymaker, punches, kicks, and throws, deal damage. You got Executioner's Respite for that health after execution. Then you got Righteous Deflect, which is the passive. When you parry, you get high damage reduction for a short time. And then for the third tier, every feat in your third tier is some sort of projectile. This is simply a bomb. This kind of traps your enemy for a short time, dealing low damage. And this one is just a trident that you throw for moderate damage, similar to like a crossbow or something. And then lastly, you got Fear Itself, which is one of my favorite feats in the whole entire game. And with Gladiator being so safe, like with his toe stabs and different moves like that, having Fear Itself paired with all them safe moves is super helpful in Dominion. And then you got Roar of the Crowd, greatly raised attack and sprint stats, and then you got Catapult. He's a knight, he's gonna have Catapult. But honestly, I would be rocking Fear Itself. Now with Gladiator's moves and his feats paired together, I'm gonna have to put Gladiator in B tier. And lastly, we got Warmonger, one of my favorite heroes in the whole entire game. Her moveset is simple, not gonna lie, but she makes up for it in her feats. Instantly, when you look at her feats, you see the same symbol all down the board. That's because they all pretty much stack. You got your Corruption Blade. Next attack inflicts corruption, a power dealing damage to a target and their allies only if they stay close together. So this is gonna break up the enemies and make them fight separately. Then on top of that, you got Elixir of Corruption, which is a passive. You gain health from damage dealt to corrupted foes. Why not? And it's only the second feat. And then after that, you got Power of Corruption. It simply makes your corruption deal more damage. And then lastly, you got Corruption Blast. Corrupt nearby foes. Corruption deals damage to targets and their allies. It's the same thing as this, but it's just a blast that explodes around you. So imagine throwing a bomb at your feet and it just explodes in corruption. But this happens instantly. And whoever's affected has a corruption on them. You're going to get health from that, and they're going to take a lot of damage since you got that third feat. This makes Warmonger a juggernaut when it comes to 4v4 modes. In a way, her moveset kind of reminds me of Warden. You got the little bash, and then you can get the light attack afterwards. And you can also hold it and get the heavy attack in. Similar to Warden. But something I also like with Warmonger is the fact that she can counter and push people anywhere she really wants. So counter, push into the wall, get a little bleed in. She also has side unblockables, which is really nice. Overall, I believe Warmonger has a lot. She's definitely built around 4v4 modes, as you can tell by her feats. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to put Warmonger in A tier. So that's all I got for the video. Let me know what you think down below. Who's your favorite hero in For Honor? Who is your favorite hero in For Honor? Even though they may not be as good as some of the other ones, don't mean that you can't play them. So with all that being said, if you want to see more videos like this, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you really enjoy these videos, maybe even try hitting that subscribe button. With all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.